Welcome to the Encinitas Chamber Chat Live podcast. I'm Carol Knight with the Encinitas Chamber of Commerce. With the help from my talented friends at Max Deluxe, we will showcase the many aspects and unique qualities of the Encinitas community. Whether it be focusing on local business owners, advice from experts, or highlighting some of the local gems Encinitas has to offer, we hope you'll find this podcast informational and entertaining. Hello and welcome to Chamber Chat Live. It's summer, the temperatures are heating up, and we're thinking about energy, or more important, conserving energy. I'm excited to have with me here today the CEO of San Diego Community Power, Karin Burns. Karin can help us unravel and better understand our energy resources and our options, and why San Diego Community Power is ensuring reliable and sufficient clean power for all. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Carol. It's great to be here today.
Yes. All right. So you have a very impressive background.
Oh, thank you.
But most people don't really start dreaming about being in energy. So how did you get to where you are today? Tell us a little bit about your background and your journey.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm really passionate about sustainability and enabling our clean energy transition, about building and scaling really inclusive, diverse teams, and about investing back in our communities. So the role here at San Diego Community Power was sort of a natural progression of all the things that I'm really passionate about in my career. Prior to coming here, I was the Chief Executive Officer for Build It Green, which was a Bay Area company also in the energy space, focused on sort of the programmatic element of what we do. So distributed energy resources, energy efficiency, codes and standards, workforce development, and those kinds of things. And eventually that company merged into Franklin Energy, which was a much larger national brand focused on similar things. And I became their regional vice president. Prior to that, I held a role also as a CEO of a sustainability organization in the forestry space. And then prior to that, 10 years in investment banking and private equity, most of which was overseas in a lot of international countries and emerging markets. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that this energy and this green energy and sustainability is in your blood?
Since I was in high school, I started the first environmental society in our high school. I grew up in a very rural area on the East Coast, and it's always been a part of who I am.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. My son is actually studying environmental studies, and he wants to go into environmental planning and policy. Right. So again, I mean, they are our future, and we really need to invest in it.
Absolutely. And there's so many job opportunities and career opportunities for folks coming up in this space. It is one of the fastest growing sectors of our economy. And so we welcome everyone. So we're excited that he's joining us.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So San Diego Community Power, tell us a little bit about what you do and your role in the community.
Yes, happy to do that. So we are a local not-for-profit electricity provider offering cleaner, more renewable power here in the 7 member agencies of Encinitas, La Mesa, the city of San Diego, the entire county, unincorporated county of San Diego, National City, Chula Vista, and Imperial Beach. So we have almost 1 million customer accounts here in the region, and we're providing the energy generation, the cleaner, renewable power. We send that power through the poles and wires of San Diego Gas and Electric, and then they provide the billing system. So folks that are receiving our service are receiving the cleaner, more renewable power. We're transmitting it through those wires. And then on the end, one bill comes to our customers from SDG&E that has basically 3 parts. Your energy generation, that's us, that might show up as a CCA generation charge. Then there's the transmission and distribution charge, and then the gas bill, also from SDG&E.
All right, so I admittedly do not know much about this community choice. I have SDG&E, I have solar. I don't think I'm on San Diego Community Power yet. I don't know. So can you just explain those differences and how that you're different from SDG&E?
Right. So we provide if you're on part of our service, we provide the energy generation. So again, it's a single bill with 3 pieces. It's the generation, where your power is coming from. Is it coming from solar, hydro, water, nuclear, wind, gas? Where's it coming from? And that's the piece that we focus on. Our power service is roughly 54% renewable today. Mm-hmm. Then those electrons have to go through a system. So they go through the infrastructure that San Diego Gas and Electric has. right? And that's the poles and wires that get right to your home or your business.
Okay.
And then there's a meter that's turning, that's saying, okay, this is how much you're using. This is how much capacity you're using on the line. This is how much energy you're using. And then that's the bill that folks receive. And then we also have both of us, both San Diego Gas and Electric and San Diego Community Power, we focus on programs. So we know that energy is more expensive in the summer. It's also a lot more expensive from 4 to 9 p.m. in the peak period of the day. And so what our programs are trying to do is really encourage folks through various incentives to use that power in the earlier parts of the day when we actually have a lot of power on the system because we have a lot of solar here in California. So from 12 to 4, or noon to 4 p.m., we have a lot of energy on the system. So we want folks to try and shift that load from 4 to 9 p.m. into the 12 to 4 p.m. or if they have an electric vehicle at night. Because again, still lots of energy on the system and we're trying to shift load into those parts of the day when energy is cheaper. So it shows up in your wallet as less expensive, but also helps us to sort of flatten the curve, the energy curve here in California.
All right, so going back to the energy is more expensive from 4 to 9. Is that a supply and demand thing? Why is it more expensive, I guess?
Yes, it's more expensive for a couple of reasons. One, we have, and this is, we believe ultimately transitional because right now we have a lot of solar and renewables on our grid. So that means that we have a lot of energy from 12 to 4. But then as the solar's starting to come off because the evening's coming on and the wind hasn't quite picked up, there's a bit of a gulf there. But that's also when folks are coming home, they're using all their appliances, they're turning on their TVs, they're cooking dinner, they want to throw a load of laundry in. And so we have this peak in the residential sector from 4 to 9 p.m. And because solar's coming off and wind is still coming on, that's when we have to use our dirtier energy sources like gas. So what's happening now is we're doing a huge build out across California for batteries. And I think last year alone, we put 4 gigawatts of batteries on the system. SDCP alone is contracted for over 1 gigawatt of battery storage. So this is transitional. We will eventually have enough battery storage on our system to cover that gap between the solar coming down and the wind coming on. But right now, we're in a transition phase. And that's one of the reasons why it's more expensive. People are using more, so it is a supply demand. It's also an area where we're using dirtier sources as well.
All right, so we've been talking a little bit about residential. How does that affect and what can businesses do, for instance, to better manage their energy?
Sure. Where there's lots of opportunities around strategic energy management. There are many companies out there that will actually help businesses manage their energy, get it hooked up to technology so they can see how it's moving and then they can make specific choices and changes. Any business or any entity can use less energy from 4 to 9 p.m. Smart thermostats are one way that it's very easy. You can set and forget. Anything you can set and forget is really nice because you don't have to think about it every day, right? So a smart thermostat enables you, I'm going to pre-cool my office or I'm going to pre-cool my home from 12 to 4 when energy is less expensive. And at 4 to 9, I'm going to raise that thermostat. So if I had it set at 72, maybe I'm going to raise it up to 76, 78, whatever that comfort level is to use less energy. Lighting is another area in the commercial space, making sure everything's LEDs, making sure they're on switches that are looking for occupancy. And then hooking things up to the internet is another way you can start controlling either remotely. Oh, we left that on. Oh, we can change that. So lots of different things that can be done. On the commercial side, HVAC, heat pumps is another thing that folks are looking at. And then having distributed energy resources on site is always, it's a bigger option, right? It's a more expensive option, but in the long run, having solar on your roof and a battery storage system provides reliability, provides a lower cost over a longer period of time, and is an investment that some folks are willing to make.
So going back to those businesses, I know you have been working with the city of Encinitas and they have their own climate action plan.
Yes.
Very specifically, are you able to influence those new businesses, for instance, that are opening up in the city of Encinitas and guide them and help them and give them guidelines for better energy efficient use? And I say that because we are working with the city, the chamber is our environmental sustainability committee on a green business certification initiative. So I'm thinking all this energy and these smart thermostats and lights all come into play. So do you have any communication with those businesses as they open up?
Well, we do have our key accounts managers, and they reach out as companies are coming online. We are getting ready to launch a sort of commercial concierge program that will create options and help folks to see how they can save energy and how they can save money and what they might be able to do that are low cost, sort of baseline options. So that's some of the things that we do. In Encinitas in particular, the city council enrolled all of our businesses and residents in our Power 100 program. And that's where everyone is, as they enroll, are initially receiving 100% clean renewable power here. That was a decision that our city council made. It's at a slightly higher premium for folks, but really worth it. It enables the city council, you talked about the climate action plans. It helps to fast track those climate action goals, and where maybe other parts of the climate action plan are experiencing delays, we can really help and keep those goals on track with that 100% clean and renewable power that we're providing today. The other thing that's coming out is a new product launching July 1st that we just announced at our last board meeting that is a Green E certified Power 100 product. So in essence, it's certified by LEED, so a business that's looking to do these sustainable adjustments and investments to their business as part of their own climate and ESG goals can receive LEED points for enrolling in that particular product. So that'll be available coming soon in July 1st.
Well, that's interesting. So again, because we're working with the San Diego Green Business Council, and then I think now it's transitioning to the California Green Business Council. So have you been talking to them, or is it something that we can just add into our businesses as a potential resource?
I think we should definitely connect on that. We're again, it's launching soon.
It's launching soon.
It's literally launching. So we're like in the middle of finalizing all that, but we'll definitely be reaching out, and we should let's touch base after this conversation on that, because it's definitely something we'll want to be connecting into our communities. The other thing we have is what we call our Power 100 champions. I don't want to forget about those. Those are our they can be big businesses and entities like the Padres is the Power 100 champion. The San Diego International Airport is a Power 100 champion. We also really encourage our small businesses to become Power 100 champions. And what that means is they opt up to that Power 100 service or that Power 100 LEED service that I spoke about earlier. And it gives them a network. So we do some interesting things as a result of that. They're demonstrating their commitment to sustainability and to climate action goals. And they get listed on our website. We do social media marketing for them. We have a network of Power 100 champions that we often get them together so they can talk about, they can get together and learn about different strategies that they're each doing to enable sustainability in their businesses. And so we also have some marketing that we do. So it's an interesting opportunity, and all it requires is an opt-up to Power 100 and a call to us to say, hey, we've done this. We'd like to become a Power 100 champion.
Right. I like that, because I think sharing that information and educating people is a lot of the challenge. And so if you can get some best practices and get those people networking and sharing ideas and what's worked and what's not worked is really good. So I'm going to have to refer to my notes here. You serve nearly 1 million customers in San Diego. And we talked a little bit about supply and sufficient and reliable energy. So do you have enough?
Absolutely. We definitely have enough. In fact, as I was kind of explaining before, we have too much on the grid in general across the state of California from 12 to 4. Right? And then 4 to 9 is when we start to see that peaking period where we're bringing on a lot of our resources in addition to our renewables. But we definitely have enough resources. We have a load forecast, which is looking at what's the energy going to look like, what's the load going to look like over a certain period of time. We buy for that. We hedge. So we have a lot of strategies to ensure that there's sufficient, reliable power on our networks throughout the summer. And that's, again, I talked about how we've put, as a state, we've put a lot of batteries online. And hundreds of megawatts of new renewables have come online. So while it will be a hot summer, compared to 2022, the state and certainly our region, we're in a great position to weather any heat waves that we may have and to ensure sufficient, reliable power.
I was going to say, because there was that, was it last year or 2 years ago, where we had those rolling brownouts, right? Where they would I think, so your power would be shut off intentionally. Because
there were some of those, yes. I don't think there were too many that I'm aware of, at least in our territory at SCCP. And I know we worked closely with across the state. We were working closely. We're in a different place now as a state than we were then. We have hundreds more megawatts online. Again, at least 4 to 5 more gigawatts of battery storage online. And we've continued that push towards energy efficiency. So we're confident that we'll be we'll be in good shape this summer.
Do you find yourself in Sacramento a lot? I mean, are you?
It's just there 2 weeks ago.
You are? Okay.
we are.
So what does that look like? I mean, you're obviously lobbying and campaigning and aligning with the state's energy or climate action plan.
Yes, we certainly look at the renewable portfolio standard, or what the state has asked all the load serving entities like SDG&E, like San Diego Community Power, to procure in terms of the amount of renewables. So we work with them on that. There are also lots of bills that go through the legislation. So our role really is to educate and to act as that voice, that expert voice, because this is complicated stuff. Yeah. I like to describe it as an onion that's constantly, every time you peel a layer, a new layer forms from underneath, and you just 2 years, I'm now almost 10 years in this space, and I'm still peeling that onion, wondering when is this going to stop?
Well, it seems like it's ever changing too. I mean, there's always the next better, bigger, better, best out there, so that you have to keep up with.
The technology is changing, the climate is changing, the legislative and priorities of the government are changing, the gas markets are changing, the energy markets are changing, the technology. So all of it's changing constantly. So it is that does make it for the onion, as I described, which makes it very interesting, right? So there's never a dull moment in our space, which.
So you sound like you're very dialed in, and we're doing all we can do, or a lot of what we can do here in California. So how do you see us, or California or San Diego Community Power, as it relates to the rest of what the United States is doing, and even overseas, and are we making a difference here, basically? In the grand scheme of things?
Sure. Well, so much of this is going to be local, right? I mean, we all have our part to play, and we all have a role to do what we can, where we can influence in the market that we're in. And so I think for us, this is the 8th largest region in the United States. Not a lot of folks know that, but it's actually a really big area here in south of Los Angeles. And so if we can do this here, if we can demonstrate that we can get to 100% clean renewable power annualized, that we can do it in a way, for us, the how is as important as the what. So how we get there, we need to get there with equity in mind, with sustainability in mind, with job growth in mind, with affordability in mind. And so we have to make choices along the way as we get to that ultimate goal of 100% clean and renewable, so that we bring everyone along, that jobs are created here locally. So we have a lot of plans in that regard. So if we're all doing that, we feel like we can be, like an inspiration to other cities and other areas that might be thinking about how they can, or really other regions, how they can become more renewable and more sustainable in their energy.
So I imagine you're asked in your position to go to conferences and summits and things like that and talk, so you can help educate and spread the word of what's working and what possibly could work in other regions or even other countries.
Right now, we're really focused on
that
may come. I did spend 7 years overseas, so but that may come too. I think right now we're still scaling and growing, and we're 4 or 5 coming up on our 5th year anniversary. We just even last year enrolled another several 100,000 customers. We've got over 1 million customer accounts. That's I don't know how many people, depends, and so we're still building everything as part of SDCP. We've got a lot of growth just internally, and so we're doing that. So we're focused really locally. There's a lot going on in Sacramento. There's a lot going on in the Bay Area. And the one thing I'd say about the space that we're in as a community choice aggregator is that there are 25 of us in California. We cover almost 40% of the energy load across the state, so that's pretty significant globally. And we're really collaborative. So we talk all the time. We're on an industry board together. And so we're really thinking about how we can collaborate with one another, how we can share best practices. If something really exciting is happening at Silicon Valley Clean Energy, we know about it. When Ava is doing great things on the data front and on the data analytics front, we're all aware of it. And we share all these learnings across one another. So right now we're really focused on making it happen here in California, because as this happens in California, we will be that inspiration beyond not only to the rest of our country, but overseas. I think it was about a year ago, we did have a Japanese delegation who came in and visited with us, and we spent several hours just explaining our model, explaining the industry, and just sharing with them and educating them about what could be possible
Right.
in Japan. So that was fun.
So what's on the horizon? I mean, is there anything new out there that you're thinking about or may impact what San Diego Community Power is doing?
Yeah, I had spoken about the third part of the industry, which is these programs,
Right.
which to explain it is really about investing back in our community. Right? As a not-for-profit, we don't have shareholders that are looking for a particular return. Our shareholders are our communities. Our shareholders are the folks here that we're talking with today that we see as we're driving around. And so customers are the cornerstone of what we do. We make our decisions in line with what's going to be best for our customers. And one of the things that we're really keen on is investing back in our communities. So about a year and a half ago, we put together what's something called the Community Power Plan. We went out and we researched. We met folks where they were at. We attended hundreds of events. We asked for surveys, asked for feedback. We compiled all that feedback. And that formed with over 3,500 unique surveys and relevant ones from our communities. That sort of formed the basis of our Community Power Plan, which connects to programs. And so we want to make sure we're doing things that help with affordability, right? So programs that help, so that in program speak converts to more energy efficiency. How do we think about batteries on residences? How do we think about smart thermostats and load shifting and shaving and incentivizes those types of programs? It also speaks to job creation. I mean, this industry is huge job creator across the state and across the country. You can't outsource energy efficiency.
Right.
You can't outsource rooftop solar, right? You can't put that in a call center somewhere else. So it's right here, right local, and and there are career paths, not just jobs, but good career paths in this space. And so we're really keen on investing in workforce development and those types of programs. So we have submitted to receive approval to build something called a regional energy network. And what that would do, and we just got conditional approval, but there's still a process, so we're not there yet. But what it would do is bring roughly $140 million into the region over 4 years to help with those types of programs, energy efficiency, workforce development, codes and standards, and other types of programs, commercial programs to help, again, shift that energy load, reduce the energy burden on folks and improve affordability, all while we're going through this transition to clean energy. So that's something that's really exciting on the horizon.
That is very exciting. Yeah.
Hopefully around a dozen programs will be coming out. And if this is approved over the next year or two, which will have these types of impacts that we're really excited about. And then we've got a lot of, we contracted for a lot of new build resources. So that means solar and storage, wind and storage, some other things of that nature. And those assets are being constructed as we speak, and they're going to come online in a couple of years or sometime in the next 2 to 3 years, they'll start coming online. And that's going to be great because those are fixed price contracts for us that will help keep, again, energy prices affordable for folks as we shift into this transition. And we'll get out of those kind of more volatile energy markets into a longer, more stable stream, which will in turn result in more affordability for folks. So it's coming. It's a transition. But it's coming. We're confident we're going to.
You got a lot on your plate there. It's very exciting, though. I mean, it really is. I mean, we can only get better in that. You talked about job force and hiring and growing. So I know you actually are hiring right now. Are there specific categories and areas that you're looking for employees?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. We're actually hiring in almost every department. A couple of positions in each department. Right now, we're hiring really across the board. And I would say, so our power services team is hiring, our data and analytics team is hiring, our marketing communications team is hiring, our legal team is hiring, our programs team is hiring. So we are definitely in hiring mode still. And we're really intentional about that process, right? I mean, culture isn't something that just happens. It's something you create. And so when we're hiring, we're really looking for folks that first believe in our mission, right? And you've got to be passionate about this because it's a lot, as you described. So you've got to really want and care about this deeply, care about sustainability, catalyzing that clean energy transition. Second thing is our communities. Our customers are the cornerstone of who we are. So folks need to really care about our communities and care about helping the folks that we're surrounded by every day. And then, of course, the skills, right? We're looking for a variety of skills, but some skills are transferable. And that's the exciting thing is we're creating a lot of jobs. You don't have to have a clean energy background to come into our industry for certain roles. And so that's been exciting. And then for us, it's really about our values, making sure that, we went through a strategic planning process. We came up with our mission, vision, and our values. Those values guide us. They are our North Star as we're making decisions on behalf of and for our customers and our customer accounts. And so they really start with JEDI, Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. They go into impact and integrity, really make sure we're transparent as a government agency, that we are working together and that we're kind of leading through public leadership. And so those values are things that we take very seriously, and we're looking to see that those values are reflected in the folks that we're looking to hire. But yes, all the jobs are posted on our website. We go through a very transparent and very, what's the word I'm looking for? We have a process because we've scaled so much. We have a very solid process for hiring. We've been doing great on that front so far, and we're really excited for folks who might want to join us, come and be part of this amazing opportunity. So
yeah, I've had an opportunity to meet Rachel and a couple other members of your team,
yes.
and you can tell quality and that they value and are really behind the mission of SDCP. So well done on that. Anything else you want to share? What we might not have covered so far?
Sure. I would say, definitely check out our website. It's changing and growing, and there's lots of information on there that's really helpful. So that's, www.sdcommunitypower.org. And on there you can find, if you're always struggling with your bill, like what does this even mean? We have a great video bill explainer.
Okay.
It's a couple of minutes long, but it'll be like, oh, the epiphany. Oh, that's what that was, or that's what that is. So we really trying to be customer friendly. There's also some really great energy saving tips on our website for summer. I mean, some of the easiest things that folks can do besides shifting load out of that peak 4 to 9 period are things like, again, pre-cooling your house.
An argument in my house, so I'm going to say, Karin told me.
That's right. The other thing I do, these are things I do, is I unplug there's so many things that you have plugged in your house that you never use. How many times in that lamp in the living room, that doesn't turn on for a month? Unplug that thing.
Right.
Because that's called vampire load, and I measured the vampire load in my house one time when we were kind of microgridding, and it's an actual thing. And at 4 to 9 p.m., you're paying for that. You're paying for those plugs are sucking just a little bit of energy. But when you've got 30 of them in your house.
And obviously this can apply to businesses as well. Unplug all that stuff that you're not using. Or over the weekend or when you're not in the office.
Absolutely. Every small thing can make a difference. Right? And that's what it is right now around energy efficiency. And then if you've got leaky windows or you need some caulking to keep the heat out so that you can kind of create that nice tight envelope to keep the cool air in, there's lots of programs. There's lots of energy efficiency programs out there. Our call center is available to answer calls and direct folks to the opportunities that they may have. And then also for certain folks of certain incomes, they can join discount programs as well. They're called CARE, FARA, and they can create up to a 20 or 30% discount on energy bills if folks qualify from an income perspective. So lots of opportunities to think about how to save money, how to save energy, and how to, everyone do their part to help us with this clean energy transition.
Are there rebates available too for some of these changes or modifications? Do you know of any? Or do you offer any?
We're getting ready to launch some incentive programs around battery storage, and we have had and Ohm Connect is out there, and Google Nest. There are some for smart thermostats, lots of rebates out there. We have one, SDG&E has one around smart thermostat. So that's a real easy one. If you don't have a smart thermostat or two in your house, that is an easy go get because they're not expensive to install. Some people can do it by themselves. I always recommend a proper electrician, and then you can set and forget. And that can save a lot of money just off the bat, especially in the summertime.
Well, I appreciate all those tips and all that insight. I've learned a lot today. I'm going to go home and make some changes. I'm going to go to the office and make some changes, and also make sure that we're communicating to our businesses what you offer and what opportunities and resources are out there. So I appreciate your time today, Karin. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Carol.
Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to our sponsor, Max Lux. Join us again for the next episode of Encinitas Chamber Chat Live. For more information on the Chamber and its activities, please visit encinitaschamber.com.